Hi, class. It's Friday afternoon. As promised, this is the video that we'll be discussing chapters 3 and chapters 4 of your textbook. And I'm just going to pull up the slides for which you have access. And now you can see chapter 3, analyzing the marketing environment. So chapter 3 and chapter 4, the slides specifically, they're similar to chapters 1 and 2 insofar as number of slides. So here we've got 43 slides, and chapter 4 I think has about 50. So I do go relatively quickly just because of the sheer number of slides per chapter. But you guys are free to reach out to me. If you have any questions, fire off an email and I'll get back to you super quick. Obviously, I'm still in the hotel, so kids running in the hallway, people making noises, that's just nothing I can control for. All right, so let's take a look at chapter 3. So the objectives I leave to you to read. And we're going to look at Microsoft company, right? So Microsoft dominated the computer software world throughout the 1990s and most of the 2000s, but struggled a little bit with changing technology and competitors. They have a new mission with a different focus. I'll let you take a look at the objective. So marketing environment, what is it? So outside forces that affect marketing management's ability to build and maintain successful relationships with target customers. So there are outside forces such as competitors, right? A micro environment versus macro environment. So micro is actors close to the company that affect its ability to serve its customers, and macro is the bigger picture, so larger societal forces that affect the micro environment. And here are some of the actors in the micro environment. You can see in this semicircle, we've got the company, suppliers, marketing intermediaries, competitors, what does that say? Publics and customers. And you can see just on the right-hand side says customers are obviously the most important actors in the company's micro environment. The company. So interrelated groups in a company form the internal environment, such as departments. Departments share the responsibility for understanding the customer need and creating customer value. So you might have an advertising department, you might have a marketing department, a communications department, a service department. The list goes on and on and on. You have your suppliers. They provide the resources needed by the company to produce the goods and services. Supplier problems seriously affect marketing. These can be supply shortages, these can be labor strikes, these can be price trends of key inputs. And what did we learn during COVID? Supply chains were seriously disrupted. I was speaking to a friend of mine who recently told me he ordered a specific type of vehicle. It's a van, like a Toyota Sienna or something like that. And he was told, I think the wait time was 3 years, 4 years, something like that. And I think the reason he gave me was something to do with the microchips being made in China. There is a severe, severe delay in those, and COVID seriously disrupted supply chains. So a supplier, home furnishing retailer, IKEA, knows the importance of building close relationships with its extensive network of suppliers. The marketing intermediaries help the company to promote, sell, and distribute products to the final buyers. These can be resellers, these can be physical distribution firms, they can be marketing service agencies or financial intermediaries. A marketing intermediary such as Coca-Cola provides its retail partners with much more than just soft drinks. It also pledges powerful marketing support. We have the competitors. Marketers must gain strategic advantage by positioning their products strongly against the competitors, and there is no single strategy that is best for any company. The publics. Any group that has an actual or potential interest in or impact on an organization's ability to achieve the objectives. Media, government, local, general, internal, citizen action, you name it. The customers, well, we have 5 types: consumer, market, business, reseller, government, and international. The major forces in the company's macro environment. Okay, so this is the same diagram as the first one that we saw, but this is the macro environment versus the micro environment. And within the macro environment, you will find 6 types of environments: demographic, economic, natural, technological, political, and cultural. All of these are major forces on a company. We have the summary, which I don't read. I will let you take a look at that. And here we go, the definition of the demographic environment. So it's the study of human populations in terms of size, density, location, age, gender, race, occupation, and other stats. They are the demographics. Marketers, or people who work in marketing, what do they analyze? They look at changing age and family structure. They look at geographic population shifts, educational characteristics. How many, do you have grade 12? Do you have a university degree? Do you have a master's? Do you have a PhD? And population diversity as well. The Canadian population contains several generational groups. We got baby boomers. Those would have been born in the 40s. And I think the 50s. So this would be around my parents' age. So born in the 40s, I believe. Generation X, millennials, Generation Z or Z, and generational marketing. Targeting Gen Xers. So Lowe's, which is a home supply company, markets heavily to Gen X homeowners with ideas and advice on home improvement projects and problems, urging them to never stop improving. Other considerations: the changing Canadian family, geographic shifts in population, better educated, more white collar, more professional population, and increasing diversity, more and more immigration. People from different countries coming in, different languages, different values, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How do we change our marketing strategies? The economic environment. So economic factors affect consumer purchasing power and spending. You can see changes in consumer spending. You can see differences in income distribution. We have the natural environment. So physical environment, natural resources needed as inputs by marketers or affected by marketing activities. Environmental sustainability concerns have grown steadily over the past 3 decades, right? You look at the Amazon, you look at the chopping down of forests, deforestation. And obviously there are many people, many populations are very concerned with this. So the trends, well, we have shortages of raw materials. Cut down all the trees, you're not going to have lumber. You have increased pollution, and you have increased government intervention. The tech environment. So new technologies create new markets. We've got digital tech, we've got radio frequency identification, and government agencies investigate and ban potentially unsafe products. So there is government regulation or government involvement. Disney is taking RFID tech to new levels with its cool new Magic brand RFID wristband. Feel free to Google that. Summary, objective. The political environment. So these are forces that influence or limit various organizations and individuals in a society. These would include laws, government agencies, and pressure groups, otherwise known as lobbying groups. Here we can see a piece of legislation, the Competition Act, and within that legislation, you can see section 34, 36, 38, and 33. And I'm not going to read all of that, but you can definitely take a look and you see the first word, which is the key word, verb, forbids, right? Forbids. It is against the law to, and then it goes on to explain what it is against the law. So forbids supplier from charging different prices to competitors, et cetera, et cetera. Another example, again, major federal legislation, and these are other acts, other pieces of legislation that affect marketing. Ethics and socially responsible behavior. So socially responsible companies, companies who think beyond their profits. They think about the external environment, people, natural resources, et cetera, and or the environment. And just getting rid of that message. These companies actively seek out ways to protect the long-run interests of consumers and the environment. They develop policies, guidelines, and other responses to complex social responsibility issues. Cause-related marketing. So companies use cause-related marketing to exercise their social responsibility as well as to build their own positive image or brand. The primary form is corporate giving. Here's a check. There you go. Controversy, well, strategy for selling more rather than a strategy for giving. I'm not entirely sure what that means. That could be a little bit better explained. Strategy for selling more rather, it's terrible English, than a strategy for giving. I'll have to take a look at that. I'm not entirely sure what the author meant. Ben & Jerry's ice cream. 3-part linked prosperity mission drives it to make fantastic ice cream because they're looking at more than just profits. They're looking beyond that. The cultural environment. These include institutions and other forces that affect a society's basic values, perceptions, and behaviors. Persistence of cultural values. They have core beliefs and values which have a high degree of persistence, and they have secondary beliefs and values that are more open to change. There are shifts in secondary cultural values of people's views about themselves, society, nature, the universe, etc. And these types of shifts happen on a regular basis. Riding the natural and organic food trends, Annie's is out to create a happier and healthier world with nourishing products that are forever kind to the planet. And I've seen this product before. You can see at the very top, made with organic pasta, and I'm not sure what else they say on there. The writing is a little bit small, but that's how they are branding themselves. Create a happier and healthier world, which is forever kind, that the products they produce are forever kind to the planet. A summary, and here we are, responding to the marketing environment. So reactive firms, reactive and proactive, right? Reactive firms or organizations passively accept the marketing environment and they don't try to change it. They are in a reactive state. Whereas a proactive firm will develop a strategy to change the environment. They take aggressive action to affect the publics and forces within their marketing environment. All right, so that was chapter 3. And as I learned last time, I'm going to try it anyways. Yeah. just for fun. I tried to minimize and it wouldn't let me do it, which is what it had taught me a few days ago when I did this recording. So to open up chapter 4, I have to go just the long way around. And here we go. Just open up chapter 4 here. Thank you for being patient. Share my screen. And voila. Chapter 4, managing marketing information to gain customer insight. Objectives, you read. All right, creating irresistible superior experiences. Value, 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 right? To gain deep consumer insights, P&G, which is a company called Procter & Gamble, that's what the P&G stands for, employs a wide range of marketing research approaches, from traditional large-scale surveys and small-scale focus groups to real-time social media listening, mobile surveys, and big data analytics. Marketing information. Customer needs and motives for buying are difficult to determine. Absolutely. Everybody is different. What you may be influenced by is not necessarily something that I will be influenced by, and so forth and so forth. Required, this type of information, however, customer needs and motives, is required by companies to obtain customer and market insights. And it's generated in great quantities with the help of information technology and online sources. And this is something that I alluded to a few days ago. If I do a search for, I can't remember what product I gave as an example, but let's say a food processor, then after I do that Google search, boom, I get hit by different companies showing me different food processors, right? So information technology and the internet has changed our purchasing significantly in many, many different ways. Big data refers to huge and complex data sets generated by today's sophisticated information generation, collection, storage, and analysis technologies. Fresh marketing information-based understandings of customers and the marketplace. And this becomes the basis for creating customer value, engagement, and relationships. Customer insight teams collect customer and market information from a wide variety of sources. PepsiCo, which is the mothership for Pepsi, they have various marketing research departments which are integrated customer insight teams. An MIS, marketing information system, consists of people and procedures. And what do these people do with these procedures? They assess information needs, they develop the needed information, and then they help decision makers use this information to generate and validate actionable customer and market insights. In other words, how do we get people to purchase this? We need to know more about them, the customer insights, learning more about the customer, their preferences, the demographics, all these kinds of things help us to understand who is going to buy our product in a sustainable fashion. The marketing information system, you can see the various arrows feeding in, assessing information needs, which feeds into the marketing managers and other information users, which feeds down into analyzing and using that information, feeding into the marketing information system with the three squares in the center: internal database, marketing intelligence, and marketing research. And then you can see how those feed up and down into the marketing environment. Assessing marketing information needs. Now, a good marketing information system balances the information users would like to have against what they really need and what is feasible to offer. Obtaining, analyzing, storing, and delivering information is costly. So firms have to decide whether the value of the insight is worth the cost. In other words, a cost-benefit analysis. Information needed can be obtained from internal databases, marketing research, competitive marketing intelligence. What's an internal database? It's a collection of consumer and market information obtained from data sources within the company network. MasterCard, I'm sure you're all familiar. MasterCard's digital intelligence command center, called the Conversation Suite. What does it do? It monitors, analyzes, and responds in real time to millions of brand-related conversations across 56 markets and 27 languages around the world. That is extraordinary, and I've never heard of that before, Conversation Suite. So that's something you may wish to Google. That is very, very cool. And it reminds me of the movie Ocean's 13. If you haven't seen it, you may want to. Within Ocean's 13, there is technology used within a casino that this is reminding me of. Systematic monitoring, collection, and analysis of information. Marketing, like a marketing information system. And what is it collecting on and analyzing? It's looking at consumers, competitors, and developments in the marketing environment. The techniques: observing consumers firsthand, quizzing the company's own employees, benchmarking competitors' products, conducting online research, or monitoring social media buzz. So I'll just take a step back. I said a marketing information system. In this case, this particular slide is not talking about the marketing information system per se, unless the data that is being collected here is entered into the marketing information system. This is just about the gathering of competitive marketing intelligence, and then the techniques are listed below. So you can observe firsthand, you can quiz your own employees, et cetera, et cetera. What does it do, marketing intelligence? Well, it offers insights about consumers' opinions and their association with the brand. Hello, have you heard of Coca-Cola? Yes, I have. And what do you think of Coca-Cola, et cetera, et cetera? What's do you have a positive association with the brand or a negative association with the brand? Provides early warnings, market intelligence, that is. Provides early warnings of competitor strategies and potential competitive strengths and weaknesses. Helps firms to protect their own information. May also raise ethical issues. Marketing research. This is the systematic design, collection, analysis, and reporting of data relevant to a specific marketing situation facing an organization. Approaches followed by firms include: they use their own research departments, they will hire outside research specialists, such as outsourcing, and they will also purchase data collected by outside firms. What's involved in the marketing research process? Well, you can see, first of all, we define the problem, and then we research the objectives, which leads us to developing a research plan for collecting information, implementing the research plan, and then finally interpreting and reporting on the findings. So we have some definitions here. We have exploratory research, we have descriptive research, we have causal, not casual, but causal research. I'll let you read those definitions. A research plan, well, it outlines sources of existing data, and it specifically spells out contact methods, sampling plans, specific research approaches, and instruments that research will use to gather new information. It should always be presented in a written proposal, and within your research plan should be topics including problems and research objectives, information that needs to be obtained, how the results will help make a decision, costs and their estimations, and the type of data that is actually required. There's also secondary data. This is information that already exists versus primary data where you are obtaining this information. Secondary data is information that's already there. You collect it for a different purpose. And the sources will include companies' internal database, search engines, commercial online databases, where you could purchase the data. What are the advantages of secondary data? Well, low cost. You can get it quickly because it already exists, and cannot collect otherwise. In other words, you have nothing else, so you go for the secondary data. But the disadvantages could be irrelevant, could be inaccurate, it could be dated, like it's old, 20 years old, could be biased. Planning your primary data collection. So research approaches, maybe it's observation. And you send something out in the mail. And that could be a questionnaire. You could do a survey by telephone. And that would be a mechanical instrument. And then finally, it could be an experiment, could be in person. So there are various different types of research approaches. And here we have some definitions, which I will not read. You are free to do so, but we have observational research, ethnographic, survey research, and experimental research. Mail questionnaires are used to collect large amounts of information at a low cost per respondent. Now, not a lot of people use mail, like paper mail these days. That really has changed significantly. And so surveys are much more likely to come digitally in your email account, for example. Telephone interviewing gathers information quickly while providing flexibility. Those surveys do continue. They do exist, and you never know when you're going to answer your phone, and it'll be someone on the other end doing market research saying, can I speak to you for 20 minutes or what have you? Personal interviewing methods include individual or group interviews. Online marketing research. Well, the data is collected through internet surveys, online focus groups, web-based experiments, or tracking consumers' online behavior, which is exactly what I was talking about the food processor, right? I'm being tracked just as you are being tracked, and you go to a store and you look up certain items, and you may purchase, you may not, but your searches are being tracked, and then future advertising is based on that. Online listening, behavioral targeting, these are definitions again, and social targeting. So a sampling plan. A sample is a segment of the population selected to represent the population as a whole. And they do this all the time with surveys. Canada has 30 to 35 million people. You can't run a survey of 35 million people. So what you do is you run a survey, maybe nationwide, and maybe you survey 2,000 people, for example, and that would be your sample. And the idea is those 2,000 people have various demographics, et cetera, and those 2,000 people and the data collected from those 2,000 people will then be, in theory, representative of the larger population in the country. Decisions required for sampling design. Well, your sampling unit, which is who are the people going to be studied, your sample size, how many people, and the sampling procedure, which is the method of choosing the people to be studied. Who are we going to choose? Right? We're going to go across the country. We're going to choose from one province. We're going to choose from one area of a city. How is that going to look? So these are different types of samples. We have a probability sample, and we have a non-probability sample. And then underneath that, you can see simple random sample, stratified random sample, and a cluster area sample. So just briefly, a random sample has every member of the population has a known and equal chance of selection. Stratified random is the population is divided into mutually exclusive groups, such as age, and then random samples are drawn. And a cluster sample, the population is divided again into mutually exclusive groups, and the researcher then draws a sample of the blocks groups to interview. With non-probability, you have convenience sample. Researcher selects the easiest population members, a judgment sample, where the researcher applies their own judgment to select population members, or a quota sample, which is a prescribed number of people. The types of instruments that are used for surveys, well, they can be questionnaires, and they can be in person. It could be by phone, by email, or online. And those questionnaires can include closed-ended questions or open-ended questions. A closed-ended question is any question that I ask you where you can say yes or no. Do you have a university degree? Yes. That's a closed-ended question, because as soon as you say yes or no, the answer is over. Where an open-ended question could be, tell me about your experience at university. That is not a yes or no answer, right? And that's why it's called an open-ended question. Mechanical instruments will include people meters, checkout scanners, and neuromarketing, and you can read more about those in your textbook. Using neuroscience methods, Nielsen charted how people's brains responded to an existing shelter pet project public service ad, and the ad's canine star, Jules the dog. Implementing the research plan. So you have your data collection, and the researchers should guard against various problems, such as techniques and technologies that may have proven to be difficult in the past, data quality. If the quality of your data isn't good, your research isn't going to be good, and your decisions will therefore not be good. And timeliness. You want to be careful processing the data. You need to check for accuracy, code for analysis. And when analyzing the data, tabulate your results, compute statistical measures. Basically, one needs to be very, very careful with the data that is collected and how the data is analyzed, because that information is then subsequently being used to make decisions. And if the data is wrong, as I mentioned, your decisions can then be wrong, and then you can end up with a disaster on your hands. Interpreting and reporting the findings. So the responsibilities of the market researcher include interpreting the findings, drawing conclusions, and reporting those findings to management. The responsibilities of managers and researchers will be to work together closely when interpreting the research results, and also sharing responsibility for the research process and resulting decisions. There's a summary. Next objective. CRM, customer relationship management. This is managing detailed information about individual customers. You are carefully managing customer touchpoints to maximize the loyalty. And what does it consist of? Well, it's software and analysis tools that integrate customer information from all sources, analyze the data in depth, and then apply the results. Netflix. While avid Netflixers are busy watching Netflix videos, Netflix is also busy watching them. You're being tracked, which is why you will say, these are what Kevin has been watching. We have recommendations for Kevin based on what he has watched in the past. Marketing analytics. Well, these consist of the analysis tools, tech, and processes by which marketers dig out meaningful patterns of big data to gain customer insight. So a marketing information system must make information readily available for decision making. Routine information for decision making, as well as non-routine information for special situations. Intranets and extranets facilitate the information sharing process. So we have marketing research in small businesses and also nonprofit organizations. They wish to obtain good marketing insights. How do they do that? Well, they can get their secondary data collection. Again, secondary data already exists in the environment. They can also observe, they can do surveys, they can run experiments. The manager's responsibility would be to think very carefully about the research objectives, formulate questions in advance, recognize any biases that are introduced by smaller samples, and also conduct the research systematically. International marketing research includes the following potential problems. You are dealing with diverse markets, trying to find good secondary data in foreign markets, which the researcher may not be familiar with, developing good samples, reaching respondents, and handling differences in culture, language, and attitudes. The cost of the research is high, but not conducting the research and simply blindly taking a shot and developing your marketing strategy without that information. As you can see, the cost of not doing it would be higher. There are always potential intrusions on consumer privacy. Failure to address privacy issues results in angry, less cooperative consumers and potential increased government intervention if you are violating someone's privacy. So the best approaches for researchers will include asking only for the information that is absolutely required, using the information responsibly to provide customer value, and there's that word again, value, and avoiding sharing the information without the customer's permission. Target, well-known American company, made some customers uneasy by using their buying histories to figure out private things about them. You can find that information. It should be in the textbook, but if you can't find it there, you can certainly find it on Google. There's the misuse of research findings. So few advertisers rig their research designs or deliberately misrepresent the findings. Solutions to this? Well, developing codes of research ethics and standards of conduct, as well as companies must accept responsibility to protect consumers' best interests and their own. And that is it for chapter 4. All right, so I'm going to shut that down. So today we took a look at chapters 3 and chapters 4. Again, the slides are designed to support the information from the textbook, but there is absolutely no question the textbook has far more information. It is comprehensive, so don't think that you can just get away with looking at the slides. You want to be reading every page of the textbook, chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, today is Friday. I will be uploading this video either today or tomorrow. Our next class is an online class. It is on Wednesday, the 18th. And unfortunately, I will not be able to attend. It is my company's annual general meeting, and I have absolutely no option here whatsoever. I'm part of the executive team, and I have to be there. So There will be no online class on the 18th. I will do exactly what I have done here for chapters 5 and 6. I will do videos and or a video. I want to remind you that the first assignment is due class 3, which is Wednesday, the 18th. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what I put for the deadline, whether I put 9 o'clock or 11:59 p.m., but you would be able to see that. And again, off the top of my head, I believe that assignment is regarding the De Beers diamonds. So there is a case study. Read the case study. It's about, I don't know, 6 pages or something like that. You read the case study and then respond to the associated questions. And then, of course, you submit. So there is no online class for next Wednesday. There will be, as long as nothing else happens, there will be our very first in-person class the following week, which is the 25th, for which I am looking very forward to. And I apologize for this past Wednesday that I was not able to attend because being out in Hecla, Manitoba. And then for next week, I apologize for that as well. Typically, my day job doesn't get in the way of my evenings. Typically, but for some odd reason, this week and next week were was a little bit different. So there you have it. As I said, I will post this video today or tomorrow. And if you have any questions about the first assignment, please feel free to reach out to me. Obviously, you need to read the instructions for the assignment, read the case study, and then take a look at the questions. And I will take I mean, I've looked at assignment 1, but I'll take another look over the weekend. And if I feel that there's any additional information that I need to be posting, I certainly will. But just keep in mind that assignment is due on Wednesday, the 18th, at whatever time is specified, whether it's 9 in the evening or 11:59. And that concludes this video. And that is it. I hope all of you have a fantastic weekend. Again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And no class on Wednesday, the 18th. All right. And then the following is in person. And I look forward to meeting all of you in person. We'll see you then. Good night. Have a great weekend.